Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite interlinked short story collections. The majority of these are actually novels that read like short story collections, but I wasn't really sure what to call them, so like, I guess a short story collection novel crossbreed. And that's what I'd like to talk about today. It's one of my favorite styles of novel, and yeah, let's begin. So I'd say the first book where I really felt like I reckoned with the idea of the interlinked short story collection was Jennifer Egan's A Visit to the Goon Squad. It won the Pulitzer Prize a few years ago, and it remains to this day one of my favorite books. It's actually one of the books, when I first moved to London, I brought it with me from Canada because it was like, I need this book with me. I need to read it again, and I continue to go back and look at the different chapters because they all are done in so many different styles and they're all so good, and my favorite one is always changing. And whenever I meet someone who's read this book, it's always fun to ask, what was your favorite chapter? What did you like? Which one did you not like? And it's just a ton of fun. So it's the central theme, I guess, of the book. It's all about like the music industry and this one woman particularly in it named Sasha. So Sasha opens the book and she's a kleptomaniac. She loves stealing things, and she's recalling this date she goes on to her psychiatrist. So that's like the frame. So it's a story about this date with this frame of being in the psychiatrist's office. And we vaguely learn that she has a music producer boss named Benny Salazar. And lo and behold, in the second chapter of the book, we follow Benny Salazar. And then, in the third chapter of the book, we go back in time and follow this girl who knew Benny Salazar in 1970s San Francisco. And, it just goes on like that, sort of vaguely interlinked. And yeah, it is just so much fun. Really cool. I highly recommend it, and it remains one of my favorite interlinked short story collections. So take a look, Visit to the Goon Squad. The next one, I don't know if I've talked about this one on my channel ever before, but it's 100% one of my favorites, and that is Natasha and Other Stories by David Bezmosges. Now, of all the books on the list, this one probably falls into the short story collection category more than novel, though the stories all have to do with this one boy growing up with Russian immigrant parents in Toronto, Canada, and, as he grows up, you follow him. So the first book, in the first story, he's just a little kid, newly arrived, learning English, and in the final story, he's a journalist traveling to California. And the stories in this collection are out of control. They're so good. Particularly Natasha remains one of my favorites. Yeah, so one of my favorite stories in the collection is called The Second Strongest Man. And here is the opening sentence. In the winter of 1984, as my mother was recovering from a nervous breakdown and my father's business hovered precipitously between failure and near failure, the international weightlifting champions were held at the Toronto Convention Center. I just love that opening line, just because it seems like, you would think that his mother's nervous breakdown and the father's business that's about to go bankrupt would be the conclusion of the sentence, that, this, in the summer of 1984, this happened. But no, that's just sort of like this, like the subclause. Oh yeah, while these really major things were happening, the International Weightlifting Championships came. Yeah, love this book. Very funny. Highly recommend it. It is out of print in the UK, sadly, so it's hard to find, but it's 100% one of my faves. The next book, I've been talking about it a lot recently, and that is Elizabeth Strout's Olive Kitteridge. Again, this is more of a novel, but each chapter is its own short story, and it is incredible. So you meet, while Olive Kitteridge is the character you see time and time again, you see this whole town from a myriad of different perspectives. And it's just so interesting how one character could be such a bastard to someone else, and then from another character's perspective, the way that other character acts is actually just so hopeful and beneficial to them. And it's, I don't know, it just captures the complexity of human life, not just like an individual human life, but a whole small town and a community, and the nuances of it so wonderfully. Highly recommend as well. Then another favorite short story collection / novel that I really enjoyed was Junot Diaz's third book, This Is How You Lose Her. And the whole book sort of tracks this sort of womanizing Latino immigrant in the United States, New Jersey particularly. And it's just, the writing is so on point. The stories are so great. And it works perfectly as both a short story collection and a novel, right in the center of the book. So all of the stories are narrated from the same guy, and then right in the center of it is this one story of this, like, just the hardships of being, you know, an immigrant woman in the United States. And the way that then contrasts and colors all of the actions of sort of the womanizing narrator throughout. It totally shifts everything around, and it's just incredible. So well done. It's probably my favorite of Diaz's works. Last but not least, of an interlinked short story collection / novel is Slade House by David Mitchell. And this, again, one that I read recently, 100% one of my new favorite books. It captures everything that David Mitchell does perfectly in like bite-sized miniatures. So you have little 6 sort of interlocking short stories that all sort of link together and tell a larger narrative. And it is just so well done. I think this is an excellent starting point for David Mitchell because he does everything he does excellently and on this smaller canvas. So if you don't really like what he's doing, it's only 200 pages, so it's not the end of the world. So yeah, highly recommend this one as well. So guys, those were my top 5 interlinked short story collection / novel. Wow, I wish I had a better term to describe these things. If there's a book in this style that you really like that you don't think I've mentioned or you'd like to recommend to me, please let me know in the comments down below. Or if you read any of the ones I mentioned, also please let me know. Can't wait to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it, and if you really like the video, please subscribe. Until next time, happy reading. Bye bye bye.